That means nothing to anyone outside of Australia, I assume, but what that means is that I finally have my license, and I can finally drive wherever I want. I have true freedom. I'm finally an adult. After all the stuff I've been through, it's one good thing this year, finally making my way towards adulthood. 31 years of age. Getting there eventually. There's some other goals on that bucket list, I'm sure you can imagine, but yes, for now, we've got one. I've got my license, I can drive. And it's been a 2-year-long journey in hard mode, in absolute hardest of hard modes, European extreme. I learned to drive a little bit when I was a kid. My parents taught me to drive their automatic cars. I went for my license. I think I had one test, and threw a hissy fit, like, oh, well, this is too hard, and I don't care. And didn't really need to drive. My parents drove me everywhere, or I took public transport. Very rarely did I absolutely need to drive anywhere. And then I got sick, I was homeless, I was very poor, so again, driving was not top priority. But I think the Ivy, the car, has been the central focal point of my journey to this point now. I'm not going to pretend that, all my problems are solved and I'm not, constantly suffering with other medical issues or legal issues or financial issues. I have the worst luck in the world. But on this one thing, it actually succeeded. It came together. Wow, can't believe it. It still hasn't fully sunk in, or slowly sinking in, but I'll briefly recap the history of Ivy and I, but I was slowly getting over chronic fatigue syndrome, and I thought, I want to finally get my license. I want to be more independent. I want to have all these useful skills. And so I'd taken a few manual driving lessons, and then I discovered that I hadn't done tax returns from several years prior when I was relying on the adults in my life to do those for me. They hadn't done it. So I get $3,500 in my tax return. And I thought, I've never had that much money before. Well, I think the most intelligent use of that money is to buy a car. And she was $3,500. And I didn't know anything about Saabs before this. I heard of a Saab. I don't think I had. And she's perfect for me. She's the one for me. And we've had so many issues. She's had a lot of mechanical issues. I've had my issues. She was stolen. I got her back, obviously, thank God. But losing her and then getting her back, that was a huge emotional roller coaster and a brutal lesson in loss. And thankfully, I didn't have to say goodbye to her forever. I can't imagine driving anything other than this car. If I lost her, I guess I get another Saab. Sorry, baby. But I guess the lesson of this video is persistence can actually pay off. Sometimes I guess, what's worse that could happen? Yeah, sometimes things could get worse. But I think if you do have a dream, you have a goal, and you just keep at it, even when it becomes almost comical, because it did, at some point, this is stupid. What am I doing? Eventually, you have to succeed, right? The odds, just say, there's got to be some kind of advantage at some point. And there was, I don't know. Well, okay, I know what made the difference. Because I live alone, I don't have anyone who has a manual car, I had to pay for God knows how many lessons. It was 100, I don't know. And I think, I should have checked this before I started recording, but I think in total there were 7 driving tests, but I think I only did about 4 or 5 of them, because 2 of them, there were mechanical failures. 3 of them were mechanical failures. So twice I tried to take Ivy there, and then because she'd been repaired so badly, she failed on the way there. So then I went, okay, fine, bugger it, I'm just going to use my instructor's cars. It's just easier. I'll meet them there. Yes, it costs money, but I'm guaranteed that I'll at least get to do the test. I don't have to rely on someone else to be available. But I'm not comfortable with especially the clutch on newer cars. These cars have 6 gears. The clutch is a lot more sensitive. Ivy is just, you can just sit on a hill so comfortably. It's lovely. It's no effort at all. I almost never stall her. But when I'm in a driving test and I'm anxious and I just can't calm down and go, okay, there's the clutch, there's the biting point there, which I can do in lessons, but in the test, no. You can probably hear the rain in the background. I went out to Cars and Coffee today, and I'll tell you about that, but it wasn't like this morning, thank God. It was a beautiful day. Cold, but sunny. The final driving test that I passed on. The Department of Transport in Perth is bullshit. They don't have enough assessors. There's no appointments available. You can check for bookings. They only go, I think, 6 months out. So for 6 months, there is nothing anywhere at, I think, 9 locations. Nothing? So all you have to do is just keep refreshing that page. I checked every day, twice a day, and then I refreshed until it booted me out. So I checked for a test one night, last thing I did before bed, I think, and finally I see 2 appointments. And I click one. I don't even have time to fully process. I know one says 8 o'clock and one says 11 o'clock in the morning. Yes, whatever, 11, let's go. And I couldn't even fully read the whole thing because I had to be so quick. Because I had seen one a month ago and I took too long to click on it because I went, oh, is that going to be the right time? I should ask a friend. No, just grab it. And thank God my friend Tim, he didn't have work that he was getting ready for a hernia surgery, so he wasn't working that day. It was the day before his surgery, I think. He was dealing with all the pain of the hernia, but I asked him, hey, City West, 11 a.m. tomorrow, are you available just to sit in the car? You don't have to do anything, you just have to get me there. He went, no, sure. And, well, morning comes, Ivy seems fine. Her roof was stuck down for a while because she was stolen and idiot slashed the boot thinking the bag there. He thought there was something hidden in there. So having intermittent issues with that. But anyway, that morning I could put the roof on, everything was fine, Ivy had no issues, we checked all her fluids and everything good. The check engine light is still on because there's an issue with the fuel sensor, and I thought, that's the one thing I could get called out for in this test. They might say, oh, we can't do a test, you've got some kind of engine issue. Even if I give them the reason, they might not listen to me. This was an assessor I hadn't had before. He was pretty cool, though. This is the first time I'd ever done a test with Ivy. And I think that was the thing I needed the whole time. That was the silver bullet. I just wasn't comfortable with any other car. I can drive other cars, but Ivy's just the easiest. I love the way a Saab drives. I haven't driven a Volvo, but I feel like there'd be similar kinship there. I like Swedish cars. I didn't know what my vehicular niche was before, but Swedish cars. I even have a Swedish washing machine. I almost got a Swedish sewing machine. Just Swedish engineering. I swear by it. I feel very safe with it. I got a little nervous at the beginning of the test. We were driving out of the car park. Okay. And the instructor's like, it's fine, just breathe. It's fine, yeah. It's like, just gonna work, whatever. And I did eventually calm down, and because I knew, or quickly realized, oh yeah, even when I'm nervous, I do have pretty good control of Ivy. When I get nervous in the Hyundai, and I hate Hyundais, my instructor's car, I just kept stalling, because, oh god, there's like a tiny margin of error. I do sometimes wish that I could go back to how I was before I had emotions. For a long time, I did a whole video on this emotional analgesia, and I need to do an update on that. But I just didn't have emotions at all, really. I was just kind of serene and complacent. Everything was fine. I don't know, I didn't really care one way or the other about anything. I was pretty happy. There was really no suffering or complaining. No. I didn't really have anxiety or fear or any of those things, but learning to drive, again, European extreme hard mode. So I'm having to battle learning emotions for the first time. My car gets stolen. The love of my life is stolen. and damaged. And I had to learn about that kind of emotional pain. And then there's all the anxiety of doing a driving test, which I'm not used to, performance anxiety, where I start shaking and I can't control myself, and I've never had to learn how to deal with this. I mean, a lot of adults still struggle with that, but for me, I'm learning to manage anxiety for the first time in my life while behind the wheel of a car. No stress, that's fine. At one point, I was so frustrated with my emotions that I got prescription beta blockers. They did nothing. I still got nervous. I still failed. So it really just had to be Ivy all along. I've actually spent more time driving instructors' cars than I have Ivy, or maybe now it's probably neck and neck. But before I got my license, I probably spent more time driving other people's cars. But from the moment I started driving her, she was the easiest thing in the world. I mean, okay, looking back, I did make some rookie mistakes. I'm sorry about your clutch. I really am. I mean, you got a new one now, but yeah. I just, hill starts or trying to reverse out of a very steep driveway, or just, not knowing how to shift gears, not understanding anything about a car. But I don't mind throwing myself in the deep end. I think is the best way to learn. I think it's better sink or swim. Just, okay, this is a problem. I need to solve it. I need to solve it right now. And, well, I got there in the end. It worked. I just kept going. There were many times where I just thought, is there any reason why I really need a license? Do I really need this? I could live in a smaller house that had cheaper rent. I wouldn't have to pay rego on this car. I mean, what am I really sacrificing here? No, I think having a car is wonderful. It gives me, well, first of all, the first thing that comes to mind is actually the community. I love going to car shows. I love talking to fellow Saab fans, or just car fans in general. I've got a lot of friends there, and I'll tell you about Cars and Coffee later, but yeah, that's wonderful, but also we kind of match each other, and not just because we've got matching colours. Oh, and so Ivy, my friend Stewie, who is also, he's a Saab mechanic actually, very helpful. I ask him all sorts of questions if there's any issues, and yeah, that community is a wonderful thing. So the thing that has made the biggest difference is, so going by public transport, everything, you got to plan it, and you got to give yourself an extra freaking half an hour to get anywhere. So now I get to work in about 18 minutes instead of an hour, and having to make 3 different transfers and walking for 15 minutes. I didn't mind the walking at sunrise. That's quite nice. The other thing about that test was, normally for a test, I would prepare so much. I would have more lessons than I normally would. Maybe instead of once a week, it was twice a week, or just as much as I possibly could, both in my car and the instructor's car. Or I would avoid driving Ivy, because I wouldn't want to get confused between driving her and then driving the instructor's car in the test. Just trying everything, whatever I could to prepare and do my best. None of that worked. I just needed to drive this car. And also I would get fully dressed up, because I was like, okay, well, if I get my license, I want to be, looking good. No, on the day of the test, I barely slept. I don't know, I have so many health issues, it's friggin' hard to keep track, but I wasn't well for some reason. Normally up at 5 a.m, but I got up at, 10 o'clock, and the test is at 11. Roll out of bed, just throw on whatever I happen to have around, and no makeup, just kind of brushed my hair, I guess, and just didn't care. That's the other thing I've noticed that's changed too, is not particularly relevant to driving, but just looking at the photos of me and Ivan, going, well, I used to dress super femme, and then I've kind of gone more butch, or just more practical again, since I no longer have my mother in my life influencing me. But the point I'm trying to make is that I don't have to put so much energy into being prepared, either in appearance or psychologically. Just go for it. Just don't give a shit. Just, okay, wing it. We're here. Driving test. All right. I think you make yourself more anxious and build things up as way more important than they are if you take too long to prepare. This is an instance where I had less than 24 hours, and that definitely worked in my favor. And I couldn't believe, I mean, I made a few little mistakes in that test, and when I was pulling into the parking lot when I was finished, I was actually struggling to park correctly. Oh god, I came in too early, and oh yeah, okay, do you want me to readjust this? I can't park like an asshole. He went, oh no, it's fine. Oh, okay, you're probably going to fail me again, here we go. You passed, just. And like the way you said it was just, you emphasized that, I'm going, so I did pass, yeah, just barely, just like a fraction. One or two things, if you'd done those, you would have had to do it again. Okay, I can marry you, man. Wow, oh my god, I was just, yes, finally. And I saw one of my mates who works at that Department of Transport, just happened to run into him at that time. So I was talking to him until it was time for me to go pay for my license, because of course you have to pay for a license. You've paid for everything else, but they want you to give them more money. And this friend, Brent, I should say, he even took me out for a mock driving test so that he, in his professional opinion, could tell me what areas I need to work on. So it really does take a village to get a driver's license. So after I got my license, Tim and I went to go and pick up some lost property of mine at a bus station, and then we went back to my house, and then he drove his car home, so it didn't really sink in that I'd really gotten my license, that this was really happening, and how much this would change everything. It was just sort of a relief, honestly. It wasn't joy, it was just a relief of, okay, that's done. It's over and done with. They can't take my license away unless I do something horrendously stupid. But the anxiety just took over. I didn't have any joy. It was just, okay, now I'm driving on my own, and what if I do this, and what if I do that, and what if there's mechanical issues and I don't know what to do, and that's all I could think about. It was, and I even had nightmares. I had trouble sleeping. That's the thing when you have PTSD, I suppose, and gone through so many accidents and traumas and injuries and betrayals and everything you've seen on this channel. So I just can't help but go, okay, this has happened, and how can this go wrong? That's where I'm at now, after everything I've been through, is, okay, and how's it going to go wrong? What's going to go wrong now? How am I going to get fucked up the ass again? And yeah, that's where I was. There wasn't joy. And afterwards all my friends online were telling me, congratulations, you must feel so happy about this, it must be such a relief, yada yada. And yeah, I guess so. And all my local car friends, they were more excited. Oh, now we can see you at the car shows, and you can bring your car. Ivy can come along too, and so that I was looking forward to. But some of my friends said, "Oh, you should throw a huge party." Yeah, I guess I should, right? I just went, oh, I don't even know. Who do I invite? Does anyone even really like me? Is it even worth it? That was where my thinking was at. But thankfully, that week, this was Monday, Sunday was the Cars and Coffee. Perfect. All my friends are there. They can finally see Ivy. Well, some of them have already seen Ivy because I took her with Tim. But yeah, I can take her, and they can see that I got the P plate, and yeah, that was great. That was something I was looking forward to. So Tuesday, the next day, I get a call. So first thing in the morning, I'm recording a Metal Gear Solid podcast with a friend of mine. Hopefully that comes out soon-ish. Metal Girl Solid, look out for it. So by the time we're done, it's about 9 a.m. I think, and I get a text from my boss saying, "Hey, we got work. Want to come in?" Oh, I could be there right away. And I could be there right away instead of taking an hour. I just threw my clothes on, get in my car, and I'm in there in about 20 minutes. And honestly, though, before I even left the house, I'm putting my uniform on, and I get so anxious, and my heart's racing, and I'm crying, and I don't know if he even put makeup on, or was even trying to. It wasn't going to happen. I'm just sort of crying. So I don't know if I could do this. Oh God, I'm just going to ruin everything. Because it still happens a little bit. Every morning I'm getting ready for work, I'm just like, don't fuck this up. So, yeah, I get there 20 minutes, and the road to get to work is one that it runs parallel to the train line mostly, so I knew how to get there all the way with no help with the GPS. So I was pretty comfortable on this road, but I had never really done roundabouts. In a driving lesson, no one had taught me how to do roundabouts, and I kind of just go real slow and ride the hell out of clutch and kind of shift gears and hope for the best, and I don't even know if I'm in the right gear or what. So that I noticed right away of, I need to actually learn how to do this. I'd barely done anything with roundabouts, which I did. I watched a video on YouTube the next morning, so I know what I'm doing now. But yeah, so I park the car. No one really noticed at first, but then one of my co-workers, who is a photographer friend of mine, he comes in and says, whose little green car is that? It's mine. Hang on, why didn't you just take your car to the photo shoot on Sunday? Because I got my license on Monday. That weekend was especially terrible for transport. Normally I don't have any issues. I live right next to a train/bus station, but that weekend I went out at night to a wedding on Saturday night. It's a pub that I like, but it's up in the hills. There's no other way to get there other than by car. So I had to Uber there and back, and I'm thinking, God damn, this is an instant where I should be able to drive. It would save me a lot of time and money. And then the Saturday, my friend had this open cosplay photo shoot session, but he's all the way up north, on the other side of Perth. So the train line was closed that day. So this is a Sunday, so transport is slow anyway. Then the train line was shut down for repairs. So it took me 2 hours each way. Most of my day was spent traveling. I mean, the photos are great. It was worth it, but goddamn, I really felt the need to have a car that weekend. And would you know it, the next day, I'd have my license. Then the following day, Wednesday, the weather was totally different. I mean, it was fine in the morning. I didn't even think about the weather. I drove to work, didn't look at a forecast, nothing. Then, when it was time for me to leave, so I started normally about 7 a.m., finish at 1 p.m., which is great. You got the whole rest of the day to do stuff. By that time, just bucketing down a really heavy rain. I have very little experience driving in the rain. I hope this is okay. Again, roundabouts and rain, okay, interesting. No one really took me through these scenarios. This wasn't like the simulations. So I make it to maybe the third or fourth roundabout. It's a big roundabout, one of the big main ones, and it is flooded with water in one corner. Not the whole way through, but I got about halfway and went, be very careful. Slowed right down, being careful, and then this kid, who wasn't on his P's or anything, so he's obviously been driving well, but looked very young. 4-wheel drive, big bull bar or roo bar on the front, whatever you prefer to call it, smacks right into me, and not immediately. It's not like he was riding my ass. So I'm slowing down. There's no one behind me, as far as I saw, but now I'm fully focused on that puddle and navigating through it. A few seconds later, boom! Turn around, what the fuck? And I didn't even... A lot of my friends said, I bet you went off at him. I bet you just lost it. You were, giving him what for? No. I was just so numb at that point. I just went, of course. I just got my license. I'm finally able to drive this car by myself, and now... what now? She's going to be towed away, and I don't see her again. Or I don't see her for weeks and months, and... Okay. And this kid gets out and he asks me, why'd you stop? Well, I've stopped now because the car, I don't know, you shorted out my battery. The screen, all the lights went off. It wasn't stalled, because when you stall, it makes a little bell chime, and the lights are still on. Nope. Nothing. None of the screens were on, none of the lights were on. So I don't know what he did, and that scared the shit out of me, going, he done something to my battery, or is it, the water from the pond right in front of me. I'm going to call it a pond. The lake. Has that gotten up underneath the car? Is that done something? Who fucking knows? So yeah, we pull over, and this kid's really cagey about giving me his information. I take a photo of his license plate, and then he's on the phone, I'm presuming to his mother. And it's bucketing down. I don't have an umbrella. I'm just sitting in my car, and I'm just listening to him. He's standing out there in the rain on the phone. I say, yeah, okay, give me your number. He won't give me his number. All right, here's my number. I tell him. He types it into his phone, but not to dial it. He's writing it into notes. And then he sort of, it's the weirdest thing where he's saying, oh, yeah, I'm going to call you. So I'm sitting there, I'm looking at my phone. You're not calling me. You got to call me. He won't give me any more information. And I've already given him my driver's license. I've given him all my details. And he's giving me nothing. He said, oh, I'll text it to you. Okay, if you insist. Because I thought at the time, all right, well, I'll just call the police and they'll just look up your number and they can get all your details. Apparently, no. If you have someone's rego, that really accounts for nothing. Of course. They've got the details right there. They can see everything. They just won't give it to you. And you can't do anything with it. It's bullshit. Anyway, thank God. I inspected Ivy. She was okay. I mean, this is what it looks like on the back there. It's not that bad. It's basically the light and then one piece underneath, and then you can sort of panel beat the actual side part out. And then I'll hopefully get that gold painted on properly at some point. But good thing I didn't do it before now, because I'm probably going to have to redo it. Yes, she came home fine, no issues whatsoever, but I was really nervous. I'm just going, okay, what is going to go wrong now? Is it going to be some kind of mechanical fail? Oh, the ABS light is on. What does that mean? Am I brakes out? Am I just going to slide? Oh, it's just rain. Scared the shit out of me. I don't know if it's loud for you, but yeah. I'm going to slide into my death. Is it going to be weather like this? It was, basically. Honestly, I just came home, and my sauna is normally here. I just sit there and look at Ivy. It was a freezing cold day, although Ivy, there's something wrong with the heater and the demisters. It was very hot in there. Then I got out of the car and I was like, no, I'm just going to stay in the warmth. I'm going to sit in my sauna for a while and just relax. Do good things for my mitochondria and my anxiety levels. So I didn't tell anyone. I didn't really do anything about it immediately. So I just sat there for about half an hour, watching some YouTube, I think. And then, I contacted my insurance company, and then I had to stay on the phone for a goddamn hour. It was ridiculous. So yeah, I have to pay the excess. They're saying I have to pay it because I don't have enough information on the other guy, but this is the thing, I thought, oh, man, I've been fucked over. This guy, he's run away. What do I do to call the cops? He texts me that night and says, oh, I'm so sorry about what happened, so I'll pay your excess. Oh, cool, okay. But I haven't sent him anything because I think normally people go to the mechanic right away, but me, I need Ivy for Sunday. I don't give a shit. No matter what happens, I'm going to try and get 2 cars and coffee. Let me just have this one nice thing. I've been hit by a car. I was doored, as they say, by another car. I was thrown off my bike. A guy opened a door. Injured both times. Severely injured one time, and then less so the next. I've had internal bleeding. I have had doctors and nurses mistreat me. I've had... I can't even think from the top of my... Honestly, it gets to the point now. So many horrible things have happened to me that I cannot keep track. It is just one horrible thing after another. Like, I would honestly have to just sit and write a list, and then this is most of the things I can remember. It's because I do mention my friends almost every night. It's something new. It's go, oh yeah, this is a horrible thing. Oh, here's another horrible thing that happened. Oh, here's another. So I hear sorry a lot, and hug emojis. It's about the best I can get. But no, I put my foot down. I'm not going to give up. Look, we are doing this. This is one fucking goal I've had this whole time. We're going to Cars and Coffee. We're going to die trying. Yeah, the rest of the week, the weather was fine. On Friday, it was even fine enough for me to take the top off, drive home, wonderful. And then Saturday, put a roof back on to clean her and wax her. It's quite nice there. I thought I'd be nervous about today, about Cars and Coffee. Because I thought, something else horrible's going to happen now. Something's going to, I'm going to get into an accident on the way, or they're going to turn my car away. Oh, she's too damaged. We don't want to put her on display. Oh, there's no room. Thinking of all these ridiculous reasons why my day is going to be ruined. Or, Tim's going to have some sort of complications with his surgery, so he's going to have to go into ER and get that fixed. Whatever. I slept just fine. got nearly. I don't usually get about 8 hours sleep. I think I seem to do fine on 6, but yeah, I got 7.5 hours. Woke up, felt great. Actually worked on some artwork until it was time to get ready and leave. Then I drove to Tim's house to pick him up, which is weird. This is the first time in my life I've ever picked someone else up. It's a weird thing. And I did not take any freeways. I am shit scared of getting into an accident at 100 kilometers an hour. If I'm doing it, 50, 60, okay, that's fine. I can handle this, and if I stall or whatever, there's plenty of red lights. I can just pull over. There's plenty of driveways. But don't do freeways on my own just yet. I'm too anxious. So I should say, on the way there, I just went the way I normally go to work. I just took that same road with all the roundabouts and all that to his house. And he's in a wheelchair right now, so the wheelchair that he let me borrow when I needed it. So yeah, I'm putting his wheelchair in the back of the car. I'm just climb in through the top with the roof down, pull the chair in. So then I put it. So it's at UWA, the University of WA, and that's a fair way to go. And the easiest way to go is obviously on the freeway. And I thought, okay, well, I'm with Tim, so I'm probably okay, probably. And yeah, it was all right. On the way back, a little confused because the GPS was telling me to turn one way, and the other was like, oh, I got to change lanes. And then this woman wasn't letting me in; she was speeding up. I was like, fuck, I almost hit you. And everyone's honking at me. And there's a roundabout. I fucking hate roundabouts. So at least, yeah, Tim was there to go, no, it's fine. Just keep going straight. Just ignore the GPS. I know where we're going. I hate city driving and then freeway. So it's a freeway leading out of the city. Yeah, I'm just not ready for all that kind of stress yet. But on the way back, we were on the freeways, no issues until... Ivy's fifth gear is a little weird, and I got to talk to my mechanic about that and see what's what. But yeah, I was coming out of the freeway, and then I thought, okay, so should I just steadily shift down into every gear, so fifth to fourth to third, to make sure I don't stall? But then I think, because I was doing that, I probably screwed myself. Just go right out. Fifth gear, clutch down, second gear, turn at the set of lights, maybe. So again, it's just a lack of experience, lack of trust in the car as well, or myself. So otherwise, it was a very nice day. It was, I was wearing a jumper, a fur jacket, gloves. It was 7 degrees. I could see my breath, but I was having the top down because if you drive a convertible to a car show, you go in topless. It's rude if you're not topless. Fairly comfortable after a while. Once the sun actually came up, it wasn't so bad. Yeah, it was great. I had no issues finding a spot, and I ran into my friends. All my friends were congratulating me. I said, did you guys have bets running on me getting my license? Because it's been going on for 2 years now. That's really what got this passion for vintage cars ignited in the first place. Is I didn't have a car, no interest in driving cars, but there was this car show, and I really like old cars. Watching Knight Rider, I love the Pontiacs. Then I found Studebaker, and then eventually I found Saab. So those are my 3 favorite companies who are all defunct now. RIP. But I bought myself a camera, and I was taking photos and learning a lot about photography, and so I got chatting to all the people who own these cars. I'd love to know the history, what drew you to this car, why did you want to drive this one specifically, and is it difficult to look after an older car? And it's definitely a hobby. If you want a vintage daily driver, I mean, Ivy's pretty good mechanically. She's not that old. She's younger than I am. But, yeah, you absolutely can have a vintage car as a daily driver. It's a different kind of thing where the car is like a pet or a person, who has requirements, who needs to be cared for a little bit more carefully. It's not, you're not driving a Camry or Corolla around and it gets beat up. You don't give a shit about it. But that's what driving is to me. I think that's my approach with everything in life, is make it special. For me, driving was never about, I need to get to and from work. I need to buy groceries, and that is it. That's really not the priority. In fact, I I can get around just fine with groceries and getting to work, and the car is joyful. It is a joyful experience. It's challenging. It can be terrifying, but this is my main sort of hobby. This is I've lost track of, or lost focus of that for a while there, when I was trying so hard to reach this goal and failing and failing and failing. Just going, well, maybe I'm just not made for this. Maybe this just isn't for me. But in the end, I got there, and I remembered what I enjoy about this, and remembered joy, finally. I've been going through a very, very dark period of my life. It's just one thing after the next, and every day it's something else. Something horrible keeps happening. Why? Am I cursed? Getting my license was another thing, but then that had the negative effect of making me anxious again about, okay, but then what if this, what if that, and I start thinking about all these things that are not remote. I mean, I got into an accident 2 or 3 days after getting my license, so... But actually going to Cars and Coffee today, getting to socialize with my friends, getting to realize how much I mean to them, and they've thought about me through this and they've helped me through this process. But yeah, so that anxiety of driving by myself, it diminished today, although, yeah, there's a few close calls here and there, so it reminds me, yeah, keep on your toes. Stay frosty, keep on your toes. This can end at any moment, I would love it if Ivy and I were together forever. But that's a thing I've had to come to grips with, I think, quite brutally in the past couple of years. I didn't have emotions, and I didn't deal with much pain or suffering or loss, and not just because I didn't have emotions, but nothing really happened. But now, there's just so many dramatic things happening all the time, so you have to deal with your own medical fears, and being in a hospital, and family abusing you and telling you to kill yourself, and getting into accidents, and the anxiety of driving tests, and just there's a lot of stress. No wonder there's grey hairs coming through. It's just so fucking stressed. I'm surprised I don't look like Daenerys Targaryen right now with the white hair. But yeah. Tomorrow is Monday. It's a public holiday. It's always a friggin' public holiday at the least convenient time. Tuesday, I go back to work. I'll take Ivy. After work, sadly, we will have to be separated. I will take her to the mechanic, Keith McCracken. I will give a shout out. The one Saab repairer, really. I think that's the only Saab repairer still around specializing in Saabs. He's great. He's good. And he's like, I hope I don't see you around for a while. Well, look. You didn't see me for about a year, so... yeah. There's her injury on the booty. Her booty boo-boo. I've already... The heater being stuck on permanently, which it did in the summer. That was awful. That's happened again. It's the plastic dials. Look, I love you, Saab. But I think, this could have been a General Motors thing. The plastic knobs... No, just use real metal. Use real materials. That won't. So I think it's just the dials are all snapped and shitty. But thankfully, Tim has a parts car we might be able to use. Shifter is still really good. That was the main issue when I first bought her. It kept the rings in there snapping and snapping and snapping because they were plastic. So Keith put in a steel one, a metal one, and he said, "I hope that's the last time I have to deal with it." I think it might be. She gets a little weird in the 5th gear, but it could be because I very rarely use 5th gear. I'm never going fast enough for that. Her hazard lights don't work, so when I stalled, when I just got off the freeway early today, and coming off a freeway into turning at a set of traffic lights on a hill, it's like, oh fuck! But Tim was there, but I was hoping he would just. Well, he can't really turn around because of his injuries, but, it's like, wave your hand, look in the rearview mirror, just make sure, hey, if anyone's looking. He was just looking at what I was doing. Fuck, I guess I'm trying to do that and trying to do the same thing. Because, no hazard lights, so yeah, hazard lights aren't working. What else is wrong with you? Everything? That's everything. That's basically it. So for a 27-year-old car, not too bad, honestly. I got really close to giving up, honestly, before getting this final test. And it's because, well, I'm saving to travel. And I just thought, well, has my personality totally changed again? Has my interest and focus in life totally changed again? Maybe the car just isn't going to happen, and maybe I just want to, get out into the world, explore, and do this thing. And, can I afford a car and to save up to travel? Is that possible? I am going to get money from the insurance commission for my injuries. A lot of money, but I don't know when it's going to happen. It could be a year from now or more. And I got a lawyer involved in it and everything, so, it stretches these things out. So, yeah, I really had to have this serious thought of, I would never sell this car. I don't see any reason why I would ever get rid of Ivy. But I had this sort of crossroads where I went, can I afford the tests and the lessons and the repairs and the rego and all this stuff? But no, it came through that I managed to complete this goal before moving to the next goal. I know this is probably a longer video than you were expecting, but yeah, it's not just a story about a girl and her car. It was a whole journey about learning to be independent and learning new skills and never giving up. I know that sounds cliche, but if you just keep trying at something's got to give eventually. You'll get there eventually. I actually do admire the people who are clearly bad at something. The Tommy Wiseaus, the Neil Breens of the world, who clearly suck at making movies, for example. They keep doing it. And we know their names. Look, they failed upwards. Worst case scenario, never give up. Worst case scenario, you fail upwards. You become notorious at being shit at that thing. But no, I am not shit at driving. Right? Right, thanks for the vote of confidence. I believe that is everything. I always finish every video with I believe that's everything, and then when I edit it, I always edit more stuff in because I realize, I didn't say this and I didn't say that. But you know what I mean. See you, Space Cowboy.